everyone. So today what we're going to be working on is we are going to be kind of doing a draw along video where we make a kind of an overlapping pumpkin field or pumpkin patch. So before we get started on how to do things or anything like that, what you're going to need today is probably just like a pencil with an eraser and probably a Sharpie to outline. And if you want to go, you can also leave it blank at the end, or you can color it. So if you want to color it, you may need some crayons, or I use paint for mine, but you can use whatever you kind of want to fill in the background. But before we do any of that, we're going to talk a little bit about overlapping and learning what that is. So overlapping, do you see how some of these pumpkins, there's a bunch of them, but these we don't see the full pumpkin. We just see kind of a corner. And if we use our imagination, we could imagine that the pumpkin kind of goes off the page and it's a really big pumpkin. The same kind of with this one, except this one, we see kind of a line starting right here that goes into our pumpkin. That's to show that this pumpkin is in front of this one. Another example of that is this blue one is in front of this red one. We can see that it kind of goes into it. If we use our imagination and we're thinking about the red pumpkin, it would probably go down kind of like this, and it would be behind these two. I know it can be really confusing to kind of think that way because our brain wants us to draw the whole thing, but we're just going to be drawing parts of it today. And I'll show you a little bit more about how to do that as we go along. One thing I also want to point out is the pumpkins that are closer to us, these right here, they look like they are bigger than the pumpkins that are back here. Whether that would be if you were in an actual pumpkin patch and you were looking at them, you could go to both of them and see that they're the same size. But our eyes show us things that are closer to us are always going to be bigger. So things that appear kind of in the background is going to be a smaller object or a smaller image. That's why these guys back here, I drew kind of smaller to show that they're further away. Okay, I'm going to show you kind of how to do this today, and we'll get started making our pumpkin patch. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. We've kind of already seen it, and we'll get started on making our own. So mine's just kind of an example to kind of show you how to get started. You could do the first couple with mine and then change it how you want. So I am going to start out with drawing a really partial part of a pumpkin here. And I'm just sticking to simple shapes like a circle. And it's just going to be an edge of a pumpkin, okay? I'm going to do kind of a bigger one starting here. So I'm going to go over here. And I'm not drawing the full circle or anything. It's just part of it, okay? So I have that. All right, I want to draw one kind of up here, but we're not going to draw it those lines starting with it. We're going to start kind of here and take it and go around right there. So we could see a bigger pumpkin. These are still in front of it. It's still really close up. So I want to start making my pumpkins look like they're a little smaller now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and just draw some lines kind of coming off like that. I'm going to do one kind of over here. I want it to look like it's a little smaller and behind, so I'm just taking it over. And it kind of looks silly right now. They look like little like weird kind of blobs. And I understand that. It's going to look silly until we finish it. So don't get discouraged. It's going to be okay. Okay, so then I'm going to do a smaller one right there. And then I'll do one that looks behind it right there. Okay. I may not like how that looks, so I can just grab my eraser and just kind of erase what I don't like about it. Okay. I'm going to make this guy a little bigger, so I'm going to go back over like that. And then so to make it look like it's behind this one and this one, I'm just going to start and do like a kind of rounded one, like that. And I like that a little more. And I'm going to do just one more. Okay, so I have all these little like lines that kind of showcase my pumpkins. Right now they just look like circles. To make them kind of look more like pumpkins, I'm going to start adding these little shapes. You could do a straight square if you wanted, like this. You could add kind of a rectangular shape like that. The stem of pumpkins all look a little different, so you can make each one of them kind of different if you wanted. You could make them kind of like that and do some like lines. It is up to you. All right. I'm just gonna make a little bit different one. This one I'm gonna get kind of silly with and do like that, like a little hook. And then that one I'm gonna leave kind of hanging off since he's kind of off the page. All right, and then I'm gonna look back on here. You guys could keep your pumpkins and fill the whole page with pumpkins if you wanted to. I like the kind of idea of making like a little fence or background thing. So how you can do that is you can take your pencil and go around like that, and then go around again, and then so you have those two lines, and then you're just gonna draw some lines going through those. They're not past it, they're stopping at that bottom line. And that kind of will look like a little fence when we're done. You can make them thicker if you wanted. You could add another line going through it, up to you. And then if you wanted it day or night, you could add a moon or stars, just add into your background. To show that there's more pumpkins, I'm gonna do some smaller ones. So I'll do a full little circle right here, right? It's small, meaning it's really far in the distance. And then I'll do kind of a bigger one right here. And then do another one, okay? So they're all different sizes to showcase. This one's probably closer, that one's a little further away, and that one's even further away, okay? And if we look back on my example piece right here, you see that I have some fun designs on it. So this is where you kind of get to make your image even more your own artwork. So you could go in and add some Halloween faces if you're feeling spooky or you think of jack-o'-lanterns. I'm just gonna make mine a smile, okay? You could go in, for this one, I'm gonna make it look like an actual pumpkin, so I'm gonna add some little lines. It is up to you, okay? So I'm gonna pause right here, and you may want to do that too. If you want your pumpkins to kind of stand out, what you can do is you could get a marker. I have a Sharpie right here, but a black marker would work the same. And you could go through and outline or trace over your marks, okay? That's just gonna help it kind of, and you may mess up. That's okay if you mess up. You could always make that part of your design. Where I messed up, I'm just gonna turn that into design. So I'm gonna outline this completely. To where if I do my lines, it's not gonna mess up. See? Problem solved. I'm gonna just black out all of that. So take a second and decorate it how you want. I really recommend outlining it. I'm gonna set mine back as an example and look back at this one. If you use any paint or like watercolor or markers, you may want to outline it first so you don't lose those colors. But when you come to decorating, think of different ways you could do it. I would make each pumpkin a little different so it really helps them stand out as you do your overlapping. And then once you guys get finished with yours, I'm super excited to see what they look like. I'm gonna stop and leave it on this part for today. I'm excited to see your work.